Hey, and welcome to this episode of Connections, Coffee, and Confidence. My name is Janice Fogarty, and I'm a communications strategist. This podcast is where I get to talk about all things strategic communications, including content creation and messaging. So, whether you create content for your business or as your business, I know you're going to find something in each episode that contributes to your success. Thank you so much for being here today. And now, here's today's episode. Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of Connections, Coffee, and Confidence with me, Janice. I was having a chat with a friend of mine, and oh, heaven help us, we were talking about social media and business. We talked about sales posts, which she's really good at. Like, she's really good at asking for the sale, and I admire that. But when she isn't straight up selling something, she was struggling with what to post, what to say. So I asked her what kind of feedback she was getting, questions people are asking before they bought, and her messaging. And I found a disconnect that I thought would be a great topic for today. That disconnect was around using your content for good, even when you're not selling. Okay, now as a surprise to all of us, or maybe not, you are always selling. Whether you are clearly and plainly asking for the sale or not, the goal is, in the end, way down the road, the goal is to get a sale. Even with this, I'm hoping for a sale. Maybe not from whatever resource I might link in the show notes or talk about to help you out in creating your strategic content in the next 10 minutes, although that would be awesome. But the goal is that someday you will want to buy something from me if it would solve a problem that you have. But if you aren't outright selling, what are you talking about? Simple. You're using your content to establish your reputation. Everything you put out into the world will shape what people think of you. And not enough of us are taking advantage of this opportunity. So I'm going to break this into three pieces, and then I'll pull it all together in the end. First, let's get clear on what I mean by content. Content is everything and anything that you create, that you put out and release into the world. It can disappear into the ether, never to be seen by anyone other than you when you go to check and see it. Is it really out there? Or it can be a steadily accessed item or a viral and celebrated piece. We most often think about social media posts and videos, our TikToks, our Facebook, whatever. That's usually what we think of as our content. But a broader view takes in your blogs or vlogs if you have a YouTube channel or into a daily TikTok. If you have a podcast, that's content. And your website, that's content. If you listen to season 2, episode 6, and my interview with Brittany Murphy about search engine optimization, she talks about how each page on your website is content that can drive your Google ranking higher. That is useful content for sure. But what about the ads that you run? Your business card, brochures or flyers that you have for special events or even for your regular services or products, posters for events. And speaking of events, what about the blurb you write and the pictures you choose for live events, ones you hold on social media or actual in person events? It's all content. Interviews you've done, articles you've written or been quoted in, conversations you've had, emails you've sent. There are so many things you create and unleash every day that you probably aren't considering as content, but they are. Okay, now what is a reputation? I always think it's quite simple. Your reputation is what people think or say about you, especially when you're not in the room. It's like your shadow following you, but unlike your shadow, it stays after you've left. When people get referred to you and they say, "Oh, my friend Karen, she said you are amazing," or "I feel like I can trust you," or "I love your sense of humor and I need to work with people who make me laugh." That is your reputation at work. You build it over time with hard work and consistency. And to be honest, sometimes it's the consistency that is the hard work. Because we all get tempted to cut corners. We all think about running away to a deserted island or doing slightly less than our best. We're human and life happens. But your reputation depends on you demonstrating your values. That is what you become known for. I love the Publilius quote that says, "A good reputation is more valuable than money," because it is. Without it, you might make some money, but you won't make much or for long, which is why it's such a mistake for so many of us to act like it's not in our control. And that brings me to the third dot to connect when it comes to managing your reputation through your content. Now, listen up. Are you listening? Your reputation is in your control. Now, not 100%, obviously, especially when you deal with the internet, where people can say whatever they want with no evidence and none asked of them, and all you can do is block and flag the inappropriate comment, or in some situations, contact a lawyer. That's a situation that scares so many people, especially women who run their own business. That fear of dealing with trolls, with the comments that you can't control, and the number of people who see what was said about you. Many women attribute their lack of visibility to this fear. Like why would you want to invite that? But you can counter that by creating and managing your own reputation. And you can control that creation and management. That is in your power. When someone says something out of line or attributes something that is easily recognized as out of character for you, your body of content has already worked to create a reputation and a following of people who will stick up for you, who will challenge the assertions. And those who don't know you, but they look to see what the fuss is about, they'll find your work, which will present a different perspective for them to consider. So, how do you actually go about taking control? Well, the first thing is to decide what you want people to think about you. How do you want them to feel about you? Think about those compliments that really touched you, no matter who they were from. Just throw some words down on a piece of paper. Trust, respect, flexible, firm, kind, direct, whatever. Then, and here's the hard part, put it out there. Tell a story about the last time you got that compliment. Talk about how it made you feel. Talk about why you value it. Add it as a tagline to your emails. Write a value statement and add it as a strapline on every page on your website. Put it on your business card. Turn it into your keynote speech and volunteer to speak in people's Facebook groups. Remember when I said that sometimes it's the consistency that's the hardest part about building a reputation? That's because there are a few layers to consistency. There's that showing up and talking about what you want to be known for, writing about it, posting about it, sharing it, until you're sick of hearing yourself talk about it. But let's not forget your actions. When you think of that saying, actions speak louder than words, that is a reference to your reputation. Your actions must align with your content, with your stated values. You can't lie. You can't embellish. You can't make it up. You have to do what you say. Walk the walk. In writing this episode, I had so many sayings that I could choose from. It became really thought provoking just how many sayings there are that pertain to your reputation that you might not have consciously thought about as being such, but it's indicative of how important your reputation is to your business. Big companies will charge thousands of dollars to create what they're calling reputational marketing or reputational branding. And it's interesting because when I looked into some of these companies, I found that they are essentially practicing PR under a revamped name. The importance of it revolves around how hard you want to work for your sale. You can put out sale post after Black Friday email, after mail drop, after live sales event, and no matter how awesome you are at sales, sometimes you need to rest or you have an off day. And if you aren't a sales maven, if you love what you do but not the selling of it, then you want something to make your sales process a bit easier. And the answer to both situations is to have a strong reputation that you've created and managed to be what you want. And the process, no matter your reason for wanting to manage your reputation through your content, is that you pick what you want people to think of you or say about you, and then tell them all the ways and reasons why you are that thing. While it's nice to be able to hand this work off to someone else to do, and hey, I would love to be that person for you, but you don't actually need to spend loads of money hiring someone else to do this work. You are an incredibly powerful person. You just need to have a clear idea of the impression that you want to create and then a strategy to create it. Oh, and implement that strategy. You need to have the consistency, not just your words, but in your actions. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to do this every single day. PR isn't necessarily an everyday thing if you don't have time for it. I do recommend you look up my masterclass on creating your social media strategy. It's about half an hour long because I took out all the fluff. It's a solid 30 minutes of this is what you do and why, and then you do this. And if you follow my steps, you can create 30 days of content designed to support your goals. The beautiful thing is, you decide the goal. I just walk you through how to create the content that supports it. You'll find it on my website at janicefogarty.com. And of course, I'll link to it in my show notes. You know what else you'll find on my website? Free and paid resources to help you manage your strategic communications and content creation. And the link to sign up for my weekly email, where I give you a deeper understanding of the topic that we discussed on the podcast and share some of the curated resources to help you further. Thank you so much for joining me today. And until next week, my friend, I hope you have a fan freaking tastic rest of your day.